Hello everyone, welcome back to Vinyl Latte. Louis V here taking you through a review of the alternate blues by some jazz legends. And I'm really excited to showcase this one to you. It's part of the new Pablo series that Acoustic Sounds Analog Production is doing. And I wanted to be able to share with you some early insights about this album. So maybe if you're thinking about subscribing to the series or whatever your thoughts are, you get some early insights on the very first album release, because this is the Alternate Blues is the first of, I think it's 14 or 15 albums that they're coming out with as part of that Pablo series. So like all things on this channel, we just dive right into it. No fluff, no BS. And we're going to start out talking a little bit about the artists. And you got here, Clark Terry, you got Freddie Hubbard, you got Dizzy Gillespie, and they're all monumental. I mean, that's a monumental trio in a jazz world, each just bringing their own distinctive flair to the trumpet. And alongside them you have Oscar Peterson there, a legend in his own right, infusing the album with this masterful piano skills. And this is a collaboration that really offers a rare glimpse into the spontaneity of raw talent of these jazz greats. It's awesome album, and I'm going to get into what makes this album so unique in a moment. Now, this just isn't another jazz record. It is really a historic meeting captured on vinyl. The album showcases alternative takes that provide sort of this unique listening experience, different from some of the polished versions that you're typically used to hearing and released by these artists. Now, what is going on here, in case you're wondering, is that this is all alternative takes. These are things that just would be, 4 different alternative takes on a song that just were part of the original release, and it just kind of adds this delightful surprise for fans and collectors alike. If you really love this jazz, anybody in this jazz lineup, or if you love this trio or quattro yourselves, and having some variations of a song that that actually made it to an official release, hearing how that song came to be and how it kind of got birth could be interesting for you. Now, about the label itself, Pablo Records was founded by Norman Granz in 1973 and has been really a treasure trove for jazz enthusiasts. It's really known for their rich catalog of jazz giants, and Pablo has preserved sessions that might have been otherwise lost to time, like this particular album. The label's commitment to authenticity and quality really resonates throughout its carefully curated releases. Now, about this particular pressing, it's pressed by Analogue Productions. This is a reissue, of course, a part of that esteemed Pablo series that we talked about at the beginning of the episode. And this record is it's 180 gram vinyl. That it's that whole durability, that premium feel. I always love the 180 gram vinyl, and dropping something a little bit thicker on the turntable. I think the only thing that gives me better satisfaction is when it's a 200 gram vinyl, but hey, we can't always have 200 gram vinyls, right? This one was mastered by Doug Sax from original analog tapes. It even says so here, right on the hype sticker, and was pressed at QRP. So that's going to ensure that you have top tier auditory experience on this record, right? AP, QRP, they never disappoint, and this is no exception. Now, the first 250 copies were specifically numbered, making them part of a collectors for anybody who subscribed to this series. And what they do is they stamp them right down here. So mine is number 000072. That means that I have obviously subscribed to this series, so I will be happy to share with you other records in the Pablo series as they come out. So why don't we take a moment real quick and just kind of unbox this, if you will, and see what you get for your money. So you do get this nice little outer reusable sleeve. So when you get the record, what happens here, if you're not familiar, you just peel off the top, but now this becomes part of a protective sleeve to protect your cover from getting scratched up or, scraped up as you slide it in and out of your shelf. Part of that, though, you do get some nice hype stickers giving you some information about the item itself, and that official QRP kind of almost biohazard looking sticker. The cover itself is it's a Stoutland tip-on jacket here. It's made of that really kind of thick cardboard. It's nice and smooth, a little bit of a glossy look to it. There's really no texture to it. It's kind of a smooth finish. And then inside, of course, it is not a gatefold. It's a single jacket, single sleeve here. You do get your record with this beautiful big Pablo looking label. Doesn't it just look so lovely? It's so easy to read, really nice. Black vinyl, of course, nothing special there. It's not a UHQR, so you're not going to get that clarity vinyl, but they do give you the insert that advertises their other albums, so you can see what is coming up in their lineup or what's new and available for purchase. So really just add fluff there, even though it's really nice quality. So that's what you get for your dollar. Now going into the review, when I listened to this album, I think it really made me feel like being a fly on a wall during a jam session of some of jazz's greatest legend. In fact, even between some of the alternate tastes, because they're just called alternate 1, alternate 2, all the way down to 4, when the album stops, and sometimes the songs just stop abruptly, they're all laughing, they're talking, they're joking. It's like really honestly just being in the room, hearing how all of this happens. It's like being a part of history. It really, really does make you feel like you're listening to something special. Now, each track brims with personality. The trumpets just sing, they just pop off the record, really hitting you smack dead in the face. The piano just dances along, and the rhythm section just grooves perfectly to the music. You can tell that this is a stellar, stellar lineup. Now, the sound quality, of course, think about the specs here, folks. It's impeccable. Each note and breath captured in stunning clarity, truly highlighting the distinct tonalities of the trumpeters. From this, you got all of the deep emotional bass lines of the alternate 1 to the intimate pacing of Ballad Medley. The album is just master class in jazz execution. And by the way, just a fun tidbit, not that you probably care, but Ballad Medley was actually my favorite song on this album. I really felt like it was date night jazz kind of music. I think one of the things that really started to wear on me when you listen to this album back to back is hearing 4 songs kind of done in a similar but different, because it is jazz way. I was relieved to start getting something a little bit different by the time we got to side B. And when it ended with Ballad Medley, I'm like, oh, this is a song that's going to get respins. This is the song that's going to put this album back to my turntable. Out of the 4 alternate takes, I did like alternate 1 the most. I thought it was the most emotional. I actually felt emotional listening to it. I think it was the one that grabbed me the most, and is probably also another track that I'll be definitely respinning in the near future. So out of heavy rotation, I think it's the first and the last track for me. Now we get into the scoring, and the Vinyl Latte Bean score is calculated based on 5 categories. We look at packaging, pressing quality, sound quality, mastering quality, and of course additional features. Now each category is weighed differently to reflect the importance of the overall assessment of the vinyl record. And overall, I rated this particular album a 7.325. So yeah, it's not a perfect 10. 10 is the highest score, but it scored fairly well. I did take a few points off, and let me share where. I think we highlighted all of the goodness so far, so let me just focus on why it wasn't a perfect 10. So yes, the sound and the mastering is really good, but it wasn't quite as impressive as other albums I have in my collection or that I've heard before. I think there's certain albums from the Atlantic 75 series that sounds better. I think that there's other albums that AP has done that sounds better. It doesn't mean this is bad. They set the standard sometimes, I think, in the industry is for what a record can sound like, and this one is good. It's on par of some really, really good records from them. It's just not going to blow your socks off. So it scored very high in sound and mastering. It just didn't get a perfect 10 there. Furthermore, my album, when it was originally sent to me, came with a pressing defect, which thankfully the amazing customer service at Acoustic Sounds promptly resolved it by sending me a replacement record. So I'm really, really, really grateful for that. In fact, It's one of the best things about dealing with a quality company like Acoustic Sounds. When you have an issue, they're quick to respond, they're quick to resolve, and you're not sitting there just waiting for a response. I love that. In fact, there's a couple places that I've ordered from before that I don't really order from anymore just because when there was an issue, they weren't there. And I don't know, I live in a world where you're always as good as how you handle problems. You could provide the best customer service all day by getting everything right all the time, but when you make a mistake or something goes wrong, being there, supporting your product, and helping the customer resolve it so ultimately they're happy is key to customer service. That is what customer service is. It isn't just taking a digital order, never interfacing with your customer, generating an automatic response, generating a label, and sending them a record, right? Customer service involves more. And I get that feeling from Acoustic Sounds every time I have to deal with them with an issue or even a question. I've just called their number, just asking them questions. They've always been super polite to me. Back to the album. Let's go back to Break. I deviated too much. I apologize. I feel like the packaging is good, but it was a bit standard, I think, for this. I think you expect a stout and tip-on jacket for a release like this, especially being part of a series that has a subscription. So it was no wow factor for me, and there really wasn't much in a way of additional features. The hype stickers and the archival inner sleeve and the reusable outer sleeve really garnered some points for me, but it was nothing really that hit home here to wow, this is some really cool stuff. In fact, I think one of the coolest things that came with the album, besides having that nice little stamp because you've got one of the 250 stamped editions, but was the back. On the back of the cover, I think I showed you this earlier, these producer notes get into detail about the making of this album and why they preserved this session, because these tapes should have been just destroyed or erased or whatever, and you get into why they were preserved. And I really love this. I would have loved to see maybe more of an elaborate fold out that had some more information about the album itself, or even maybe a little fold out about the Pablo series. Instead of having this, that's just a bunch of generic acoustic sounds that I have 40 or 50 of these from all the albums I've got from Acoustic Sounds over the last couple months. I would have loved to see something like this that was specific to the Pablo series. That would have been awesome to be able to collect. And 10, 15, 20 years from now, it's yeah, here's all the albums that came out, and here they all are on the wall, right? That would have been really cool piece of, I don't know, history or something that would have came with that album down the road. I think that was a little bit of a miss on Acoustic Sounds, and I hope they start thinking about that as they do these exclusive series here. So let's get into the ultimate decision. Should you go out and just buy this album today, or should you click the Wantlist and maybe see what your alternatives are, give it a stream, or just skip it altogether? Well, I think this President of the Alternate Blues is definitely one to add to the Wantlist. I think it offers not just music, and it's also kind of a part of history, right? So you got a lot going on here. It's really encapsulating the essence of jazz's golden era. I don't want to discredit it at all, but it just might not be everyone's cup of tea, and it's probably not going to be an album that you're going to listen to every day. There's 6 songs on here. 4 of them are the same track, just recorded in alternate variations. In jazz, that's greatly different from each other, but you can definitely start feeling some repetitiveness as you listen to each track back to back. So yes, there's value in showcasing the raw, unfiltered talent of these jazz legends, and some folks that really live and breathe and die on jazz are going to love it. It's going to be a great part of their collection. But if you're not familiar, I do think you should go ahead and give it a stream, see if it's your taste, or perhaps see if you can find it at your local record store. I've heard a few people say they're able to pick up Pablo Records at their local record store for less than $10. And if you can take advantage of that, that might be an option as well, to be able to get in the door a lot, cheaper, if you will. For me, I'm part of the Pablo subscription, so I'm hoping that I can come back on here, share with you how some of these other records sound, and then maybe by the end of the series, give you a stack rank. Like, how did each one fare? What is the top 2 or 3 albums? What were maybe my least favorite 2 or 3 albums based on the Bean score? All right, folks. Well, I really appreciate you jumping in and taking a listen to this review. Hopefully it was helpful and you're able to make some better decisions or put some thought into whether this is an outright album for you. Hopefully you learned some stuff. And if you did, hit the like button and subscribe. This is YouTube. It does make a big difference. I want to come back and do more albums for you. So drop some comments below and tell me what you want to hear. Until next time, I hope that your coffee's warm and I hope that your records don't skip. This is Louis V. I'm signing off of Vinyl Latte. We'll see you next time.